Hey everyone, it is Miesha Wright, and welcome to another episode of Chasing Sanity. It is episode 10. Please like, comment, and follow, and I will definitely do the same. And I cannot believe it is episode 10. I just cannot believe I have done 10 episodes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just so proud of myself, but I am very, very thankful for everyone who has joined me on this journey that I started at the end of December. I just took this leap, but I am just so excited. But let's get into this episode. It is a continuation of episode 9. Let's begin the healing. It is an episode that was, very dear to me, talking about the heart, repairing the heart, how the heart deserves a total repair. And really, I don't want this to be something like a forceful thing. This is something that, you can just do on your own time, or some people may, feel like they never really feel like they can do this, because it just depends on how, much they have experienced or gone through. But what ends up happening is that the heart, it will have little cuts, wounds, small wounds, big wounds, and I'll take it even further. Those wounds will kind of transfer to our minds and we'll put temporary fixes on them. And those temporary fixes can be just little band-aids, bandages, and that is just a way for us to cope, just a way for us to get through life because I don't know your story, you don't know mine, but we some of us really have been through things and they're painful to talk about. They're painful to face, but we put these bandages and these band-aids over them. That way we can try to manage and get through life and day to day we that's what we the temporary fix is, and it works. Sometimes the bandage will rip open, or it will, the wound will reopen and you'll have to deal deal with it because maybe you've run into the person who's done something to you. Stuff like that will happen, but that is basically just the gist of it. You are just temporarily putting fixes over the trauma, over the sadness, over the hate, over all of that pain. And you might say to yourself, "Excuse me, lady, like, you don't know what I've been through." And that works for me. And I will come back to you say, "Excuse you." I totally get it, and it usually works for me. And I normally don't like to discuss things that have happened to me. If they are discussed, it's in therapy. I have a very difficult time discussing. Um, if I just have very difficult time fully discussing things that have happened to me and coping. If I am being very open and just being very bare and just feeling kind of like naked and really just being so candid, I'm in therapy, and it's because she has those methods of getting those things out of me. But other than that, I don't like to talk about that. I really don't. I don't want to go there, but it is necessary mentally, emotionally, and physically. It is necessary because we may not realize those temporary fixes, you know, we might think that, well, it's helping, we're over it, but we don't know how it's really affecting us. We don't know we are how it affects how it's really affecting us day to day, like how we approach people. You know, we might think we approach people fine, but do we? Because, maybe someone maybe hasn't really brought it to our attention, but we don't know how it is truly affecting us, how it is affecting us when it comes to relationships, how it's affecting us when it comes to us sexually, how it is affecting us when it comes to raising our children. We don't really know because we haven't fully acknowledged the things that have happened to us. We have attempted to cover and attempted to ignore, but we haven't fully attempted to really dig and acknowledge what happened to us. Because trauma is real. Some of us have seen things that that we weren't supposed to see. Some of us have had things happen to them as when they were children that was not supposed to happen. Same thing in adulthood. Trauma is real, and when we don't acknowledge, when we don't sit down and take the time to accept that those things happen, it takes us on this real cycle of, I would almost say abuse. It is abuse to ourselves, because we're really never going to let that situation go. We say we will, but we won't, and it really does eat us up. We say it doesn't eat us up, but it does. And we say it doesn't bother us if we see that person, but it bothers us if we see that person. We say I'm over it because the person's dead, but it's no. It's still there. It's still causing us grief. It's still causing us all that extra stress and anxiety. And so it is a lot. That's why it's important for us to sit down with someone, hopefully a therapist or a trusted friend, and talk to someone about it. It is important to journal. It is important to meditate. It is important to pray. It is important to figure out a way to put yourself back into that place and accept and understand that, okay, this happened to me. It wasn't supposed to happen to me, but it did. This person did it. I need to figure out how to forgive and go through that journey. It is a very tough journey, but when you start going through that journey, I think that heaviness will come off. I will I will get I will tell you a little bit. I was telling you already on episode 9 about my wound. I was if you knew me, I was in high school. I never dated. I was like that theater girl, very shy. I didn't have a boyfriend or anything. When I got into college, like even early on, still did not date. Still did not have like a boyfriend, didn't kiss anybody. Wasn't until like my last year of college. So I was in my early 20s that I was in. I'm giving you a little bit of information, but I think I've um, talked about this. I was introduced to a man, and yeah, he looked good on paper. He was established. He was older, and he was fully aware of who I was because he knew a family member of mine. He knew that I was a virgin. He knew that I was like a church girl. He knew those things about me, and he did not have good plans for me. And because I didn't have any experience and I didn't understand how men operated, I kind of just fell right into his trap. And there were times where again, me just being innocent and never dealing with men, I would just let things happen. I wouldn't really speak up for myself. And really kind of just let him just dominate me, because I'm just thinking that this is how things are supposed to go. And this went on for a while. And once I did finally get out of that situation, I felt extremely, my self esteem was extremely low. I felt extremely dirty. I felt extremely like I was going to hell. These are just all the thoughts of me being just a young girl and being in church. I thought that I just thought all these horrible things about myself. I just thought, how, I just put, all the blame on myself. And that affected me for years, of how I saw men and how I let men treat me, and how I dated, and how I would look at myself in the mirror. And I would, just feel really, really bad about myself. But I will say that there is a rainbow. Even though that wound is not totally healed, there is a rainbow. I have been able to meet some really great people, not necessarily, not just men, but just women who have encouraged me, who have pushed me. And so I have been surrounded by some wonderful, wonderful people who have encouraged me and who have really, really put me back together, including my therapist. So there is a rainbow. Am I completely healed? No, because that was something I would be covering for years. But the repair is starting. I just acknowledged something that, but yeah, hopefully that helped someone. But I could see that this is going to be, it's already been in 2 episodes, but I think episode 10 is going to be a part 2. But it is okay to tell your story. Tell it to a trusted person. Tell it to your therapist, or you can journal. But it is okay. We all have been through things, but you know what? Understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.